It's also streaming on YouTube live right now.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah, it's streaming on YouTube right now. Done. Okay. So it's live streaming and we are beginning. I welcome Malavika to this satsang. We have been doing this satsang in Hindi, and I was using Patanjali Yoga Sutra and Bhagavad Gita to begin. And in Hindi, it continued since Corona came. The process was going on. And this is the first time we are opening in public the sadhana part of Patanjali Yoga Sutra in English, and it will continue. Just a brief introduction. The Patanjali Yoga Sutra, written by Maharishi Patanjali. We are practicing, almost everyone practicing yoga nowadays. So it's divided in 4 parts. So one part is called Samadhi. That's the sutras for instant enlightenment, direct Samadhi, and about it. Second part opens up sadhana, penance, or completely from zero. He is leading person from zero to enlightenment, very beginning. So you can say he's guiding beginners. At the same time, you say, howsoever old we become, we are always beginners on the spiritual path. We're beginning and beginning. Third part, he deals with spiritual powers, miraculous powers. And fourth part, he deals with Kavalia, that is beyond enlightenment. After enlightenment to the liberation, we call Kavalia, that which we will never return on this body at all ever. So here we are beginning in English with sadhana, the very first beginning of newbies or novice or initiates. So how we come to the path, and that's where I wanted Malavika to open the story of. I will begin with the first sutra of Patanjali, and he says any initiates who comes into the path should have 3 things. One we call tap. Tapa here is penance, fire. So an enthusiasm, a burning zeal, or that which is burning fire, a burning fire inside. Tapa, that may burn all the impurities. Then we should be ready to do self-study, looking into self, and study books, and also invocation of God, within or without. Now, these 3 things may mean differently, may unfold its meaning, its importance into differently to different aspirants who come to this path. So this is how we begin with Malavika for Sunday. I will be giving a context of the sutras, and Malavika may come to relate the stories to that. And after that, we are open to interaction, talk. And if you something resounding you with Malavika, you can say yes or no or share something about it. So I will be giving Malavika to speak in the context when I initiate a yogi, how he comes to the path and how fire is provoked inside or enkindled by somebody or by some scripture or by herself, and then person is ready to achieve the path, look inside, introspection, finds out, and the person relationship with God. So person relationship with looking inside, person relationship with God, and person itself, zeal, or excitement, or provoking that fire to purify the self. In this light of Patanjali Yoga Sutra, I invite Malavika to share the way she would like to begin.
Thank you very much. I am so excited to have this opportunity to tell the story. So when I was thinking about what am I going to say, where do I begin, I realized that telling the story about yourself is not a very easy thing to do. And but it's a very wonderful process of reflection. So when you say sadhana, I notice in the last multiple years, there have been periods when I have practiced something and it has given some result, and then the practice went away because it was like short term. But I'll tell you, the first time I really started with this, what you call the fire, the tapa, is when I fell in love with the man that I married. And I was young. Both of us were in our 20s. And when I declared to my parents that this is the person I'm going to marry, uh, there was a lot of resistance because he was outside of my caste. He was outside of my region. He spoke a different language, different culture. And I'm talking about more than 50 years ago. So uh, there wasn't so much of interreligion too. So, but that was the time because when your parents who have been your umbrella, safety, security, everything, they suddenly tell you, no, you can't, then you have to really stop and say, which way? Because there is this fire in the belly, which you talked about, is that no, this is my life. And I cannot hand that power over to somebody else. So I said, whether you accept or not, this is happening. And of course, there was a lot of unhappiness, conflict, and lots of different things. But I went ahead and did it. But the end result of it all was good. It wasn't like I was thrown out of the house, anything, because they came to realize, and lots of like the family came together even more, family and friends. So to me, that told me one very important thing is that there is a sense of self. Don't lose sight of that. Don't give that power away completely to somebody else, because if you do, then it's not a happy place. But as the years went by, it was wonderful. I mean, we had, when you're in love, then the whole world feels like wonderful. And so that's what happened. And then we had children. And the next time I really found that kind of a sort of conflict. It's not so much of a conflict, but more stress that life is not easy. There is a lot of struggle. And that was when, both the children were young. I had a full-time job. That is when Meera Shiva used to work with me. We used to work together. And, I'm trying to manage kids, job, and also family. The woman's role in the family has to be in a particular way, and all of that, it was like robbing me off again. I felt like I'm going downhill. But the beautiful part is, I realized that when there is a thirst inside of you, and when you have an idea of there is a greater being, which is what you said, you have to have the God in there somewhere. And then from your heart, when we ask to quench that thirst, that I want life to be not easy, but to be pleasant and peaceful. So that prayer must have gone out because I didn't do much, but some of my friends and we were studying together. And in Amira, I don't remember whether you were in that group or not. We went off. There was this big thing going on around that time about transcendental meditation. And the Beatles had done transcendental meditation, and Maharishi Mahesh Yogi, and all the engineers, software engineers in Silicon Valley were doing transcendental meditation, and their productivity was going up. So there was a group of us, about 3 or 4 of us, we said, let's go and get initiated into this transcendental meditation. I had very little idea as to what it was, but off I went with these friends of mine. And I got initiated. I got a mantra, and they said every morning, 20 minutes in the morning, 20 minutes in the evening, you chant this. Okay. So I started to do that. And very soon after that, something else happened. And I came across, oh yes, my boss, who was a nun, very spiritual lady, Mira's boss also, she came back from the US. She was American. She came back from the US with a whole stack of books. And one of the books was called The Will to Live. The first time in my consciousness came this idea that the quality of your life has a direct correlation with how long you will live, what the quality of your living is going to be like. And I was absolutely astounded. That was one. The other book that impressed me was Silva Mind Control. So Jose Silva, he's written this book about mind control, and he tells you step by step, do this, the 1, 2, 3 process. I started to do these 2 things, the transcendental meditation and the Silva. And what I discovered is that you are suddenly moving into an area of extrasensory powers, thoughts. So I would think of something and it would start happening. I remember one time I was the office administrator, and I was struggling with, we have a lot of new recruits and I don't know where to put them. And in my mind, I'm trying to try this combination. So they know you have to have integrity of departments and the people and all of that. And early in the morning in the alpha stage, as I was waking up, I had this dream where the whole thing was rearranged in the perfect fashion, which for 5 to 5 days before that, I've been struggling what to do. And I was so amazed. Besides that, I was picking up people's thoughts. Somebody's giving me a phone number, tells me the first 3 numbers, the other 4 numbers come automatically in my head. So I realized that there was huge power in this. And I practiced it for a while. And then, when things start going better, the practice sort of, that's what I mean, the sadhana sort of melts away. Oh, I don't need this anymore. My life is good. So carry on till the next crisis hits. And so there was a period of time when, again, there was too much on my plate. I couldn't handle it. I kind of sort of lost myself. I was not present. I was doing everything like mechanically. Wake up in the morning, do this, do that, kids, servants, no servants, do it. So it was like, just do what you have to do. Don't think too much about it. And that's when the addiction happened. Because I was not doing the sadhana, I wasn't doing the meditations. And instead, I was looking at something else to fulfill that. And I started to drink. And this was actually very funny. There was a period of some years over there. If you told me that you're an alcoholic, I would have said, no, of course not. I'm not. Because what would happen is that I'd stop. Something would happen and I wouldn't be drinking for lots. But then when it came back to the routine, I would go back. And it wasn't just me, because, that mahal in India, I'm talking about the 70s, 80s, early 80s, that was a social thing. Everybody sat around drinking. So I was doing that, not realizing that in the process of that, what I was missing out. And I always laugh and say, if your spirit is not free, then the spirit in the bottle is not a very good substitute, but it is a substitute. And I see that pattern all over the world. So that went for a while. until I came to another very dark place, and that is when I was moving from India to the US. It was that period of transition. And just before we moved, I was in this. It was a time of a lot of, like, I'm leaving my house and home here in India, where I've spent almost 50 years, and moving to a different place with all its challenges and trouble. My husband was already here, trying to manage. My mother-in-law was in an advanced age, and she's having her own problems with that. And at that time, there was one period I was very, very um, kind of feeling very under. And this friend of mine, Gautam Mukherjee, has joined recently. He was visiting one time, and he said, not then, before the darkness actually showed up. And we were talking, and I said, so what's new in your life? He said, oh, I went to learn something called Reiki. So I said, Acha, what is this Reiki about? So he told me. He lived in Jamshedpur. It's a very forward-looking city, and they do everything before anybody else. So he just briefly told me, this is what it is. And I said, what does it do? He said, oh, it makes you feel really good. So just before I moved to the US, I went through a very bad patch, highly depressed. My husband was here. My son also had just moved. We were trying to clean up the house, and I was really under dark clouds. And at that time, in the meantime, my mother-in-law went and had got Reiki, initiated into Reiki. She was a very advanced soul, and she came back, and I told her, what did you learn? She said, I can't tell you. It's a secret. I said, oh, okay. But when I was in this terrible place, one morning I opened the newspaper, and there was this little ad saying Reiki. Both my daughter and I, we were the only two at home at that time, and it was very, very oppressive. Summer, no water, electricity cut. So I told my daughter, let's go learn Reiki. And we did. And for the first time, I realized the body, if you don't include the body in your sadhana, then it stays kind of half done, adhura. But the Reiki was so easy to embody. All you had to do is just call forth this wonderful energy, and it just came, and it made you feel like, it's the ease, the relaxation, and that joy you were seeking, it came. And then I completely immersed myself. And my entire move from that country to this country was completely supported my practice of Reiki, morning, noon, and night, when I was at work, when I was trying to complete a project, when I had to do a presentation, Reiki, 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 Reiki. And it went very well. That was 25 years ago. We came here, and then the real journey began from when I look back now, and I said, okay, up until then, I was doing whatever I was expected to do from society. Now is the time when I have to come home to myself and live my life. And this is when I met Yogi Sri Niranjan. Again, I never knew where to go and what to look for, because that was supplied to me always by accident, by friends who will come and talk to you about something, and it'll show up. Your boss comes with a book and you read it. So the things that led me to this, it was almost like it was being orchestrated by somebody else, like some other power, some synchronicity. That I realize only when I'm looking back and I'm saying, oh, yeah, that's how I came to that. That's how I came to that. And even when I met Sri Niranjan, it was a few years after I had come here. And at this time, I was seriously realizing that I cannot stay in this relationship because it's stifling. I have to do something for myself. But it is, for a woman who'd been married to this person for 30 some years, and you can't sort of think about, I mean, at least for me, it was very, very troublesome, conflicting. over here, even the Reiki didn't seem to go far enough to give me that space to say, well, you can do it. Move. So I was in conflict. I was visiting India. And I was, of course, talking to my friends, trying to figure out, I'm trying to decide, am I going to live in India? Should I go back to the US, etc. And there's this dear friend of ours, her name is Shiba. She told me, there is this Swamiji over here, very close to where you live. Every evening he does a discourse. Go and listen to him. So I arrived at this ashram, and Swamiji at that time was doing discourses from the Ramayana. And I went there a few days.
Ramcharitmanas.
Ramcharitmanas, that's right.
Manas, yeah.
And it wasn't, the message wasn't new to me. Some of it was, but by and large, I knew it. But it wasn't so much the message, but it was the energy of the space, ashram. It was to me, it was like music to my ears, and it was giving me this. I think it was your presence and the way you delivered, and I don't know what it was, but there was magic. So every evening I would arrive, and then not only that, there would be bhajans. And I think a couple of things I took away, not just from there, because afterwards we also came to the US. One was the sound healing, which I learned from you. And the other was the Shri movement. All the other meditation I had learned so far were think this, chant this in your mind, don't speak it out loud. But here, the sound had the vibrations you can feel, very physical, as was the Shri movement, which is the Taoist movement in various forms, very flowing, very beautiful. So, and from there, then the real work began. And what I do now incorporates everything that I have done. And I just want to end by saying what I have come to, it's to me, I don't know whether it is I don't think there is end of the evolution. As long as I'm in the body, I'm sure there'll always be challenges and I will have to do this. But one thing I've realized is that the idea of the soul, which used to be very abstract earlier, you have a soul. And this soul is a part of the Paramatma, of God. All this was very theoretical till I learned this part of my, in the last several years, is that not only you have a soul, and not only is this a part of the Paramatma, you are actually a fractal of how you perceive the Paramatma. So all the qualities that you put in God, all those qualities in minuscule form is here also. So there is no separation here. So don't say, God, do this for me, and stop there. Because you have to do the carrying the load part. You'll be shown the way. So I realized that this soul is so wonderful because it is not an accident of the universe that the soul showed up one day. The soul has been traveling many lifetimes, and it has shown up here with a very clear agenda of delivering something to mankind, I suppose, I don't know, to creation. And that something is something my soul itself has chosen. It's not by chance. And that every ingredient that we need in order to move to the creation of that something is already embedded in our makeup, in the way our mind thinks, in our ancestry, in our bloodline. So I'm born here in this family because I needed to be a part of that bloodline. All the karmic stuff that yet needs to be resolved, there is a part of me which attracts situations in the life which gives me an opportunity to neutralize the imbalances. And also that there is a pathway. The soul has already created a pathway by which you reach that place where you will do what you have to do. And that's why, these accidental happenings happen. Now you go and learn transcendental meditation. Now you learn silver mind. Now you learn Reiki. Now you talk to this person. I wasn't doing this consciously. But there is a force. It's almost like attraction. These have to come into my life. So I go through. Sometimes it'll throw you in the pit. And it's not fun. It's not even pretty. But it is essential for you to find the way to that which is the life's work, which we have come here to do. And I also realized that till such time you are able to align yourself with that work that we are supposed to do, there is not a sense of abiding peace. You have short-lived peace, enjoyment, etc., but there is always something. No, there is something over and about this. I wonder what it is. There is a treasure waiting for me somewhere, and there is always this restlessness. I have to look more. I have to do more. Maybe do meditation. Maybe do this. But the real truth, I have discovered this through my various work, is the real truth is don't get so focused on what you have to do. Do whatever is coming to you, because the guidance of the doing comes from inside. It doesn't come from outside. I might go to Yogi Sri Niranjan's classes and listen, but that will trigger something. But the ultimate thing that, you need to do this, just because he says, do a meditation every day, isn't your answer. Your answer is when you find, yes, I want to do the meditation every day because it is coming from my need, my excitement, my love of this thing that I'm doing. Not because the gentleman is telling me, if you do this, you will go to heaven. He might say that, but I cannot buy into that till the fire in my belly gets lit up with that and say, of course you have to do this. And when we come to that place, this is also something I've learned, is that there is no argument in the mind. Oh, should I have done it? Or maybe I should not. Maybe I should do it every day. Oh, because when people say, I don't do it as much as I should, I said, wrong path. There's no shoulds. You do what you are guided from inside to do. And that guidance, in my experience, doesn't necessarily mean that you have to sit and meditate or do this. We all meditate. Whenever we are being mindful, whether you're cooking or whether you are taking a swim or whether you're going for a walk, that is always meditation. And like Osho said, your entire life is meditation. If you're present, unlike those times when I wasn't present. But so it comes, the guidance comes, and with the guidance and when we follow it, the joy comes. Even if it is just, oh, you should cook this for dinner tonight. And when we do this with the dilchaspi, with the excitement, with the love, there is such a reward that, life is good. Essentially, that's where I have arrived. And the other thing I also want to say I've learned along the way is that when we are not in a good place, when there is some kind of a problem, when that thirst begins, that oh, this doesn't feel good, something needs to happen so I can move into a better place. And I don't even know where to look to find the solution to the problem. But the moment that thirst arises, I think the soul reacts and says, okay, we recognize, where I say high self, the higher intelligence of the soul recognizes it and will push me in the way. And the more I resist, the worse it'll get. This has taken me many years to understand. Don't resist. If you thought you will do this, and as you were about to do it, it got taken away. And then you sit and cry for a while and blame this person, that person, and everybody. No, no, no. Don't resist. There is a bigger picture here which you're not seeing. So sit down and contemplate, meditate, cry if you need to, throw up your hands and dance if you need to. But let that process take place, because at the end of it, you will be led to the next place. Sometimes very gentle, sometimes very. So, one of the things. Yes.
Yes, please. I thought you stopped, so that's fine.
No, but I got a thing saying recording is happening. So, what I'm doing now, and this is where, because of the involution, I said, when we have a problem, go to the source directly and ask. Because creation, you ask, it is given. But you have to have clarity on what you're asking for. You can't sit on the fence and say, well, let's see what happens. Oh, what would you like to happen? So there is clarity of, what is my heart wanting? It's the heart center. And if we can get that clarity, then we put out that prayer. We don't have to say it in words, but in our intention, life would be good if this was the case. And in that asking and in that imagining, the creation is set in motion. But the rest of the journey is now preparing this being, body, mind, emotional body, to be able to receive that. And I find that's where most of us get stuck, because the mind operates in a different scheme. The inner child operates in a different scheme. And so my entire work has been on how to help people recognize the difference between thoughts coming from outside and the ones that are actually coming from within. And I will pause there. That has been the journey so far. And the sadhana has many a different. Go ahead.
So I am coming back because the time 8 o'clock. So this is what my idea is, like how, like reading sutra, classical text, Bible and Patanjali Sutras, Ramcharitmanas, Bhagavad Gita. Yes, great text. And they speak in a very categorical seed form. But how a person understands, applies, moves forward. The first sutra was the three ingredients you must have to treat the path. You should be fully enthusiastic, burning with a desire to purify yourself. That's for sure it's needed. Not to purify the neighbor or somebody else, but to purify yourself, tapa, burning impurities. And second ingredients is self-study. And for sure, you should also study books at the same time, outside and inside, studying yourself and invocation of God. That many people say, I don't believe in God, I don't need it. Well, you can begin, but here it's also atheistic. In yoga, you don't need God. But as a sadhak, if you're proceeding, there comes a moment really that the God becomes your need. It's need, psychological need. And classically in India, we have two kinds of sects. One, worshipping God, giving a personality to God, a shape to God, a form to God, and worshipping it. There is a classical Vedic technology which applies to idols. Like I will show you Balyogi Premvarni, he left his body, we made the idol, and then after with a certain ritual, we do pran pratishtha, pranidhana. Like we infuse the soul into the stone. And here ritual is, after doing ritual, you put blindfold over the idol. And when you remove the blindfold, you don't look because energy is very high. You show the mirror, and mirror cracks into pieces. So when mirror cracks into pieces, they say, yes, it's established. So in a way, creating relationship, you can make a God with personality. And in yoga, you can make a God without personality. But that's not easy thing for everyone. Pure witness, pure observer, only witnessing and observing whatever you are doing, like your ego, your mind, your body, whatever is happening, is a pure observer, knowing everything is there. So this transcendental God, not easy for everyone to relate and to, but a personality works. So whatever in yoga, our God is transcendental. In general life, we can give personality, but India offers both. You can give a personality to God, a shape and a structure, and worship it, or you can go transcendental God, a pure observer, knowing all, witnessing. And he is a witness of your whole sadhana. That's Ishwar Pranidhana. He's watching, witnessing, arranging. By miracle, it happens. It does do nothing. It just sees. And seeing is potential. Seeing is not like important somebody watching something happening in the world without any potency. That's kind of not an observer. That's kind of not a witness. This witness and observer is so strong that in just by his presence, nature starts to dance, manifest, expand, vibrate. Spandan happens in nature. So his presence itself, the witnessing presence, transcendental God.
So I have a question. If when you say transcendental God, you are just talking about a concept that there is a greater presence within which I'm operating. Is that what it means?
No, within which not only me, everyone is operating.
Everybody is
The whole
operating.
cosmos, the nature itself is born in his presence. His
Yeah.
presence
Okay.
holding
Yes.
the expansion of the nature,
Yeah,
transcendental.
which I call source, spirit, source. Yeah. From
Yeah,
where everything happens. Right?
everything happens. And pure witness,
Okay.
not interfering.
Not interfering.
Not interfering in your process, but if you are open, you can receive the message. It's like
Guiding.
a sun. Sun is there, rays there. You can choose to close your window or open your window. Sun is not going to do anything about it. It's your choice. That light is there, shining, but individual soul, I have full freedom to close the God completely, that not even a single ray passes in my house. And I can open, and I can even destroy all the walls and windows that nothing remains. I'm fully exposed to them. Or I can open a small window and sunlight infiltrating through. It's my freedom. That's why I say sometimes freedom is condemned. Man is condemned to be free.
So, but actually, maybe not, because I want to just tell you another little bit, which I remember often. It was a very powerful thing. When I had told my parents that I'm marrying this classmate of mine, and there was a lot of conflict, there was a lot of clash, here. I was finding it very difficult to even be in with my family because there was so much resistance and push. I had a dream just before I got married. I had a dream, and in my dream, I saw Devi, Durga. Beautiful, like beautiful presence, just, all with jewelry and all of that. And I'm in awe because, I'm a Bengali. We worship Durga in so many different ways. But I discovered in my dream that and she was smiling, very lovingly, looking at me and smiling. And she was almost telling me, this place is yours. But when I got a feeling that, oh, there is no place where she can't see me. So I'm always under her gaze. And it almost felt to me like I better be watchful because she'll see whatever I do. And throughout my life, when I'd say, I don't know from where these people come and give me this, which puts me in the path. And time again, I said, oh, there she is doing her thing. And she realizes that I need this now. So she sent it. So that has been an abiding presence in my life, whether I do anything concrete like worship her concretely or not, I don't have to do anything. Just be aware that there is a bigger presence that is always there guiding me, taking me in the direction that I'm supposed to go.
Wow. That's Ishwar Pranidhana. That belief is needed in the sadhak. The aspirant must have this. Otherwise, very difficult, almost impossible to clear the path without this support in your heart. That there is a God who is in any form, doesn't matter which form. Like I will tell you, I was reading a book, Vigyan Dharmatantra, that disciple of Swami Satyananda, she is Swami, now is a he, Swami Satsang-English Saraswati, the intimate disciple of Swami Satyananda. So I was reading the preface, and she is narrating the story that in Vedic prana is Om. In Tantric, it is Him. The mantra is Him instead of Om. So she was narrating that she also sleeping and she saw a dream. But in dream, she again meeting this goddess, and in her dream was the mantra was resounding in the cosmos, Him. So that she inferred the message. What to do about? I mean, she understands. So dream is also one of the way. I'm going out of context of very logical treatise of Yoga Sutra. It's no imagination is allowed here and no irrationality. But I'm going out of context to narrate it in other way. So I have also been guided to the dream. I have get initiation into dream, which is more real than anything real. So dream in a way is the same consciousness until the deep sleep. If you become aware, live it, it gives you a message, a guidance, and a symbolic reality to this. Dream is real whenever you are into the dream. And when you change the state of consciousness, it becomes symbolically message to another state. Like here we are dreaming. But this is true. In this state we are dreaming true. But when we really go to sleep, our talk will symbolically become a message to another dream state. It may appear there. But in that state, that is real. And what we will see there will again become symbolically relevant to different states. So there are states of consciousness. In that consciousness, that is real, and compared to something else becomes unreal. No, if you relate to another dimension, but into the dimension, dream is real and symbolically real to another state. I'm just narrating you that dream is when we go in Vibhuti part, like miraculous powers, which I am not opening to that. I'm going systematically. Look, these three things how Malabika is sharing. And now the next step is klesha. This is klesha. Klesha, we say affliction is a constant pain of some topic which becomes a constantly painful to you. constantly.
Yeah.
That becomes.
So that's what I was thinking, because I would, in the next presentation, I
Next
would
one.
like to go into
Obstacles.
that, the obstacles that show up, and how we have learned, we have been taught to take care of it, and how the mind gets involved, and how to be able to navigate that, and to come to a place where, well, there's a different way.
So I think you will remember the 6 kleshas traditionally spoken, classically given. 6. Out of these 6, one you mentioned already: lack of interest
Lack of interest.
in sadhana or path, whatever you are
Oh, yeah.
doing. Lack of it. But once you have mentioned one, but next we will open up to see the obstacles, how the path is interrupted, how we fall out of the sadhana, how we fall down, the pitfalls, and the challenges, the real challenges, these obstacles, which every seeker feels inside and same. Patanjali will say very 6, but 6 existing in all and everyone's life. Let's see how Malabika come over and how she is coming over. And no guarantee it will not appear again.
No, there isn't. But I am having a little difficulty saying every seeker will find it. You don't have to be a seeker. You don't even know you are a seeker.
Yeah, even though
But
you don't know,
the soul has to go in that direction. It's like whether you do.
we call it a seeker when a conscious decision is made that
Okay.
I will remove these afflictions from my life and I will achieve enlightenment, pure intuition, pure wisdom. When this consciously settles into any body person, the person is aspirant, initiate, sadhaka.
But I have a little problem. I'm not saying I will reach pure consciousness. I'm just saying I want to get past this problem to a better
Afflictions,
place.
both way. One way you say either you work to pass through affliction, and passing means that you are looking for enlightenment, a space of samadhi where you can see very clearly rope or snake.
That is right. Very good.
So it's both. That's what my point was. That when we read the scripture and we see every person, we say, oh, it's the same thing happening. Undercurrent, fundamentally, everyone is, but a story different. So let's listen to stories and also listen the classical books at the same time. So we finished 2 sutras today, and 3rd sutra is the obstacles. 6 obstacles classically elaborated by Patanjali. If you find more, welcome.
Very nice. So Martin has
So
been
here we
smiling
are.
away.
Marvin is smiling because this is the story of everyone, what you are narrating. It's everyone has the same story. Little bit. Dress design is different. Special effects are different. Lighting different. Director is different.
I'm smiling because it's just so beautiful. I'm always mesmerized by, you sharing your experience. I have confirmations, and he has confirmations as well, and just everything you say, it's a dance, it's a dance, and just before, you started, I was talking about humility, finding God, and the place of suffering just a little bit, and now it just follows everything. And I imagine as well that the next section with the kleshas and the obstacles, it's all about that as well. What is the purpose of the obstacles, and just coming back to that as well, to that devotion, it's to strengthen that devotion, that connection, because it is a psychological need. Because the same way, Krishna said that we have that choice of putting the curtains and not the curtains. That's the duality, that we need the curtains to be open and receive that light of God. But at the same time, in that same duality, you said something very interesting, Malabika, is that there is always that presence no matter what. There's always, even if you're not aware of it, even if you're not a seeker, and that it also makes me smile a lot, in the job I do, is when I go in the city and you just feel in the eyes of the people that you meet in there, I don't know, in their aura, you know, you feel sometimes what people are going through, and if they're running away, are they running away, you know, from it, or are they going towards it? And you know, that always makes me laugh, because as you know, Krishnaji said, you know, there's no guarantee that the obstacles will come back. You know, we cannot take it for granted.
Oh no, new obstacles will come.
Yeah, new obstacles. So, but
The bar
sometimes, you
will
know,
go higher. Yeah.
yeah,
That's why.
definitely.
Meera ji,
that was
boliye.
it. That was it. I'll let you continue.
No, obstacles in next chapter, no? Malavika?
Yeah, next time. Now, I was wondering if anybody, Gautam, Meera, you have anything to comment, say?
Yeah, so see your life, you will see the story speaking to you, reflected.
Definitely have something to say. I wanted to thank you from the bottom of my heart, Malabika. I even had some tears, you know, as you were sharing, you know, in your truth. I was just in love with your story. What can I say? I was just in love from your authenticity, your sharing, and just everything. You know, I think it's so beautiful. It is so beautiful. You know, the coming to be, and how you taste a little bit there, and then you got enough, so you stop. But at the same time, also it was not meant for you. So, and you see, and that's what's so humbling about life, is that you never get really anything out of yourself. I mean, you do, you know, you have to put your consciousness at work, but everything is brought by other people, and ultimately by the grace, you know, by the grace of that supreme consciousness, you know. And it's phenomenal, you know, when we stop, you know, to contemplate. Sometimes, you know, we wake up, we're in that fogginess, we have questions, but the moment we get back to the clarity, all we can do is just smile and laugh, you know. It's just so funny. Everything is just so funny.
It's beautiful.
It's beautiful.
Gautamji is here. Yes. I heard his story. Gautamji related one story. I remember I joined you. He was telling his story.
Which one did you, he said talked about many stories. Which one did you
Yeah,
hear?
one I think I don't remember. Once you invited me, I was listening one story. Something about science, modern science.
Synchronicity.
Synchronicity.
Synchronicity, yes.
Can I say something?
Yeah,
Yes,
of course.
everyone is welcome this time for you.
Actually,
Me and Malavika is done.
because Mala said that we work together. She didn't mention we were in school together in Dehradun.
Okay.
So I know her from when she was a bachchi, you know.
Ah,
Cycle se school aati thi, that from that time, you know.
Yeah.
And
when she was riding bicycle. Okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
Each time in Dehradun, Rajpur Road coming, abhi to now there's so much traffic, you won't be, you know, you'll become a papad on the road. Huh? So I've seen her grow over the decades, and this see you know the professional dimension of a person, you know the personal dimension of a person, but the spiritual dimension. And as you said, seeker, she's saying no, I'm not seeker, whatever, but she's a seeker, huh? And so when she mentioned to me कि आपके साथ ये discussion होगा, I was very interested. और आपने जो 3 चीजें बोली कि तप भी होना चाहिए, आप पढ़ाई भी करना चाहिए, और मैं तीसरी चीज भूल गई.
Ishwar, God, invocation to God,
अच्छा, मतलब that will be
relating to
prayer?
God.
Will that be prayer?
Yeah, that could be any God. How you relate, it's
अच्छा,
a
नहीं,
one story.
because no, that makes sense, because और दूसरा, the other thing is that it is a fact that in your life you come across people, you come across books, you come across situations, yeah, which can take you in a direction which will help you in your seeking, you know, in the process of seeking. And when you're walking on that path, you're more at peace with yourself. And then you know that ये वाला रास्ता is much better, though you may have less finances, less this and less of that. But I wanted to thank you. I don't know, आपको योगी जी बोलूं कि निरंजन जी बोलूं?
Anything people call Krishna ji, Yogi ji, Niranjan ji, Swami ji,
because ये कृष्ण
Guru ji.
नहीं, because ये कृष्णा अप्लाइड कुछ और आ रहा है, तो वो आप ही का है।
हाँ, हमारे कई सारे ये हम रिलेट करते हैं ना, जब ऑडियो कहीं से लेते हैं, वीडियो कहीं से लेते हैं, तो
अच्छा।
हमारे 4-5 ईमेल रहते हैं जिससे हम एक कनेक्शन किए रहते हैं।
But I know one thing, that whatever Mala shared, she has said that with her association with you, she has gained a lot. So that is why I wanted to join and listen to you. And thank you very much. And this young person with the cap, I can't read.
Yes.
Marvin.
It's
Have you-
Marvin. I didn't put my name. I just signed in with Google. That's
Just
why it
like you
says
see, my one name is coming different because organized by different account, and here it will appearing Yogeshri Ji Niranjan, and you need to give little bit different name to all accounts
Yeah.
to
Yeah,
recognize.
I wanted to ask, आप ये आश्रम का बोल रहे थे? Where is the ashram?
That right now I am sitting here.
Yeah, but I don't know where you are.
Rishikesh.
Rishikesh.
See, then neither of you.
If you understand Hindi, come tomorrow morning. We will show all. Right now, not a good light to show.
It's a very, very close from Dehradun.
Acha.
Yeah. Rishikesh, yeah, it's 40 kilometers.
I'm in Delhi, and tomorrow Delhi is supposed to be voting.
Okay, we will not go there. Gautam has to say something. Gautam, bol.
Okay.
Basically, Malabika and Niranjan ji, I am, a fan of yours, second-hand fan, because I've heard everything from Malabika. But I just wanted to add one thing, Malabika and me have been very close friends, best friends for 52, 55 years. The difference I find is we are both seekers, but I have been seeking knowledge. And I may have done a pretty good job of it, my grandmom's genes are there, so I've got a good memory. So I can remember things I've read 40, 50, 60 years ago. But there's a difference. Seeking knowledge takes you definitely quite far. And I can understand and explain everything that is happening to Malabika, everything that's happening to my wife, Kushreta, who's on the same journey as her. But the seeking of wisdom and seeking of the connectivity with the, call it higher consciousness, call it the higher intelligence, call it our higher selves, that comes from something a little different. And it took me almost my whole life to come to that, finishing line. That comes from a submission of humility, which has to be pure. And knowledge gives you a lot of arrogance because you feel you end up knowing more than those around you. You know more.
Why no? Third ingredient is Ishwar Pranidhan. You surrender to God. It's the one of the three. Surrendering to God.
Yeah.
Then after seeking knowledge.
Yeah, that submission has to be from the heart, it can't be a surface submission. And it comes through circumstances, whatever, but I'm happy that I won't say it's come to me, but it's definitely coming to me in the last 5 years. And things are definitely a lot better in my life, but the struggle is much less and things happen much easily. And I've seen Malabika's journey, I've seen my wife Kushreta's journey, where it's an easy submission that they do, they don't think about it. It just, they relate. It's something I've envied because I rationalize, I go into logic, I go into objectivity, and how is this happening? Why is this happening? And the moment I do that, I'm gone.
Yours transcendental approach.
Yeah. And this is, let me tell you a little story, though, for the people who are here. Gautam, you already know. When I met Sri Niranjan, listening to this Ramcharitmanas and, doing the bhajans and all of that, my heart opened. I had closed my heart. All those years of looking for spirit in the bottle and not in the real has really shut down. I'd become like, it's all about the mind, the intellect, the books, the opinions, the I know. That arrogance had really, really built up. But when I was in this, desolate space of like, I need some air to breathe, and I land up at his ashram, it opened up my heart. It opened up my heart so, literally cracked it open, which had happened when I was learning Reiki. But to embody that, I needed a lot more support. And I think that's what happened. And the thing that happened was that I started writing love poems. It's just flowing out. I was so much in love with life during that period. There was a retreat that he had held in Rishikesh. And suddenly it was like, where have you been, Malabika? This is what life is supposed to be about. And I would write these poems and I would send the poems to him, to Yogi Niranjan. And then I'd tell him, don't mistake that I'm writing these love poems for you. I am writing because this love needs to come out of me. And it's easy to write to somebody who has form, because this abstract is abstract. And he'd very sweetly write back to me. He says, yes, yes, I know. I am the window. You're heading somewhere. But that really helped me get back in touch with me. But the next
And
thing
your alcohol is stopped. You dropped it.
Yeah, the alcohol stopped with Reiki.
With Reiki.
With Reiki, and that was also very miraculous. It's not, I didn't tell myself even a single day that I will stop drinking. I will be, it just went away, because this spiritual connection that I was creating with the invocation of Reiki was so wonderful. I wouldn't even remember. I would pour myself a drink. It'll be sitting there. I wouldn't even remember to drink. Then I said, what is this nonsense? Why am I wasting good money? It just went away. And after that, what happened is that my body couldn't tolerate it. Even if I took a sip every now and then, I would feel sick. That fortunately has gone away. So now I have the freedom to drink or not to drink. It's not a compulsion. Very good.
Okay. So we have everybody spoken. Pavel is there. He is.
You're driving.
He's driving. So that's Malavika. Anything somebody wants to give input? And nobody reminded me. I stopped to put in record, but I did live on YouTube. So I don't know what's output there. Everything will be recorded, and you will be given a link where you can listen or
okay, now you're going to be using the same link next time.
No, link will change each time. Changes. It's a dynamic link. If you are in a school, you have all the programs running to join, and this way, each time it's a dynamic link is created.
But we need, I know a lot of people who had said would join are not able to join. I was able to send only Gautam with the password and the other thing, yeah. So,
yeah, but this is dynamic. This meeting ID and passwords changing every time.
So if you will send the link with that, then it will be easier for me to
pass. I will send you. I will try to find out the way. How this Gautam Mukherjee joined?
Yeah, I was able to WhatsApp it. No,
without Zoom, you can. Okay.
I WhatsApped I think Masuria ji had probably sent the.
But I could join Niranjan ji, whatever you sent, I could join through that.
You have your own Zoom.
You sent to Mala and Mala sent to us.
Yeah, it's a link.
If you have
to sign in, you need an You need an account, but I think most people have a Gmail account. So there's also like a little button that says sign in with Google. I forgot my account, but I signed in directly because I have a Gmail account already. So they probably can do that because I think nowadays everybody uses Gmail. No?
You can go by Gmail. Yes. If you have you should be verified somehow. You should be verified in the network. You should have a Gmail account. You should have a Zoom account. That your email is real. You are a real person, not a robot, not somebody, just a hacker or somebody. That's why the security reason. Zoom has and Google is doing it. I have nothing to do with it.
All right. Thank you. I will meet you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. So next topic is our obstacles in the path.
And thank you for inspiring my friend. You know. And thank you.
Bye. So tell me your name, Trust Your Soul. Again.
Oh, yes, my name, it's Marvin.
Martin, it is. I thought
No,
but
Marvin,
it sounded
with a V, like the
With
singer Marvin Gaye.
Okay, like Marvin Gaye.
But it's Marvin, it's not Marvin Gaye, it's only Marvin.
I know, but I'm just connected.
Well,
wonderful to meet you. Obviously, you love life. It's evident from your face.
Yeah, but yes, you have to love life. And I truly know and believe we have to learn how to suffer, you know. Suffering is important. It's very important, the pain in life. And when we know how to play with that, you know, because it's like also, he left now, but Gautama was saying, you know, I think what he's also experiencing is that duality, you know, with masculine or men, you know, they will experience that seeking in a different form. A female will and you know, I've come across people, and it's always, you know, it's always interesting to hear the different stories because you can see the different dynamics of the mind and the body, how it works, and it's always so good to share. I love sharing, and you know, especially like that heart sharing, you know, and I could relate so much with what you said. Also, the dream aspect, you know, I've had countless dreams, you know, and you understand that the nature of the dream is very symbolic to each individual, you know. It's like what you were brought up with, you know, your expectations, you know, your experience, and how your higher self plays in it, you know. Some dreams, they feel more real than life, you know. Some other dreams, and I don't know, it's just a play, you know, what is what, and yeah, so going through the maze of life.
Where are you located?
Right now I live in the Netherlands.
Okay, which place in the Netherlands?
There's a little city between Amsterdam and The Hague. It's called Leiden. So I live in between. So I've lived here for 5-6 years.
Beautiful to meet you. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you as well, Malabika. Thank you for your time. Krishnaji, everyone there, thank you very much for your presence.
Thank you.
Selçuk, thank you for being here.
Selçuk,
I will
Pavel.
see you.
Until next time.
See you next time. Some technical issues are coming up, but it's okay.
Selçuk, thank you for being here.
Selçuk is there. So Selçuk, namaste. See you next Friday. This is our first opening. It will continue. I see how many years until Patanjali Yoga Sutra is.